Hi, this is Dale back for our next Excel demonstration. Now, as I mentioned in our first video, that worksheets within Excel have cells in them, and the cells are identified by the column and then the row. So all of the columns have letters, the rows have numbers, and within any given cell you're allowed to store a number, a word, or a formula. So we're going to look at a couple of quick examples of how we might, actually three. We're going to add the following numbers, the 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and then I'll show you how we'll divide 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the third example will just be adding your name, and then we can add some text, and you can see how you can use that. Because one of the things that you'll be doing with text throughout is labeling things and also explaining some of your answers to show your work as to how you got them and what the numbers mean. So give you this quick demo and we'll go from there. So again, we've got tabs down here on the bottom. The first one is just the demo, saying what I'm going to talk about. Let's go to tab 1. And it's just saying add the following numbers. So inside this cell, I've got all of that information. Now, for instance, if I wanted to add them, what I can do is anytime I want to do any kind of calculation, I begin with the equal sign. So I go up here into the formula bar, put an equal, and I could just go 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 9, and then hit enter, and it goes to 25. So it's calculating it that way. But again, I can't see that. All I see is the number. If I click on the formula, I can see it here. So that's one way to do it. It's probably not the best way to do it. Another thing to do would be to go put these numbers in different cells. So I'll start here in E4. I go enter 1, and then I'm going to hit the enter button. It automatically drops me down one cell. Then I type 3, enter, 5, enter, 7, enter, 9, enter. And so now I could add those up right here. So there's a couple different ways I could do it. First, again, I could put the equal sign and it shows up in the formula bar. And then I could click on this cell, E4. And I could go plus, and then I could type in E5 plus E6 plus E7 plus E8. Once I've done that, I could hit enter, or right here hit the check to enter as well. It gives me the same 25. Now that's fine with only 5 numbers, and again the value of this is, say, instead of 5 I wanted 15 here, so I put 15, and all of a sudden it automatically recalculates for me. So 35. So it saves me a lot of time to do the recalculation as opposed to going through and doing it by hand. But there are more efficient ways than what I just showed you to get this. So one of the things I'm going to do right now is just give you another example, and I'll put this spreadsheet up on D2L so you can look at it if you want, so you can remember how to do this. But I'm going to just click and drag, a left click, so I've highlighted cells E4 through E8, and I'm going to go over here and select copy, and then I'm going to go over to G4, and now I'm just going to hit paste, and it put all those numbers in here again. And what I want to show you now is how you might use one of the functions. You've got the marching ants indicating what's selected. If I hit the escape key, that will get rid of those marching ants. So we talked about functions. well, I'll look at the functions later, actually. I'm going to just hit equal, and now I know one of the functions automatically is sum to add up these. So I'm going to just type SUM, and it tells me that the sum is adding all the numbers in a range of cells. And if I open parenthesis, now it gives me instructions, number 1, number 2. But what's interesting is I can just click and drag, and notice what happens. G4 was the top cell, and then it put a colon, and then G8 was the last cell. And now if I close the parentheses and hit enter, it's now added all of those up. And if I click up here in the formula bar, I can see the range of cells that it's using in that sum function. So that's a helpful way, a little faster than individually adding up all of those cells. And then the last way I want to show you is I'm going to copy these again. So I'm going to select these cells, hit copy, go over to I4, hit paste, hit enter, and now I mentioned the auto sum button in that first video I did. Go up here, it looks like the Greek letter sigma. I'm going to select it, and look at what happens. It automatically adds in the equal for a formula to the sum, and it correctly anticipates that the cells that I want to sum are I4 to I8. So all I need to do is hit enter, and it automatically has done that calculation. So again, you can see that quite easily that's got a lot of power in there to get all of that done. So that's helpful. One more thing that I should have shown you before in terms of how to enter this, I'm going to go down here below and add this those numbers right here. I go equal, I can just click on a cell rather than having to type it in, plus, click, plus, click, plus, click, plus, click, and then hit enter. So again, either typing a cell number in or clicking on it will both input that information into that formula. So that's just another trick to know. Now let's go on to the second example here. In this case, I'm going to start with a formula equal and go 987654321, and then use the forward slash to divide by it, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And click to hit enter, and you can see that it spaces it out all that way. Now if I shrink that a little bit, make it smaller, I only see the 8. But if I click and drag between column D and E and expand that, all of a sudden I see all of those decimal points. So it'll go out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 decimal places. So again, pretty handy. But another thing you might want to do, instead of putting that all in one cell, I could go 987654321, hit enter. So that's in cell D7 or D6. In D7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now in D8, I could go equal and go cell D6, and then forward slash will give me the divide by, and then click on D7 and hit enter. And again, I get the same number, but I can actually see those cells right out there doing that calculation. And the other thing I should tell you is for obviously addition, you would use the plus sign. For subtraction, the minus or the hyphen. I'm just going to expand this slightly so it doesn't cut it off. For multiplication, and I just double clicked between column B and column C, and that automatically expands the width of column B to cover everything that's in there. The asterisk, and then division is, and I just left arrowed there, is the forward slash. Didn't like that. Okay, fine. Well, I got to put the quote sign in to do that, to show that. So anyway, those are those functions. Before I mentioned if you wanted to center those in that previous. And again, I know for some of you, you have experience with Excel, so this is very basic. For others of you, Excel is brand new. So I'm kind of going with the lowest common denominator on that. And now the last thing I want to do is just go to tab 3 here. What is your name? And again, I can just type in my name. And if I wanted to continue to add more text, for instance, I could click back up here in the formula. I am your instructor for stats 2220 for spring 2013. So again, it'll type it in there just like word processing, sort of. If, for instance, I wanted that line to break here, I could go up here and hold down the Alt key and hit Enter. And now it sort of rearranges that and broke in that particular spot and expanded that out. So it wouldn't matter how wide I made it, because right after instructor I used that Alt break, it changed it around. But there's lots of different things you can do in terms of adding in word processing there. And again, you can expand rows or columns just by going either between the row cells or the column headings there, and watch for the cursor to change, and then you're able to do that. So you can add in a lot of text. In fact, I've seen lots of people who in the professional world that unfortunately never learned to really use a word processor. Maybe that was more true years ago, and they did all of their word processing in spreadsheets. I don't really recommend it, but sometimes it's easier if you've just got a little bit of text to put in, like will be the case with most of our homework. So anyway, that's another overview of some basic things. I will continue to produce some of these Excel tutorials that I think will be helpful. I'm also going to have some links out there to some other software and things that will be helpful to learn Excel in case you want to move ahead faster than I'm producing them. So there'll be other resources available. We'll see you later.